out of all the years I've played basketball, I've never played in an offense that did not involve some screening. So it's very important, coaches, that you teach your players, one, how to use it, but also how to defend it. At M14, we teach it two different ways, okay? One of the different ways would be up and through, the other way would be on a tight trail. All right, so let's start breaking this down. Defending a screen up and through is one of the ways we teach our players, so let's break that down. First things first, Coach Jeff is going to reverse the ball over here to Coach Alex. Coach Andrew's going to jump 1/3, 2/3 with a hand in the passing lane. Coach Nick comes over here, he's on help side, all right? Now, Coach Jeff is going to come set the screen. Stop. At this point, what we see players do all the time is Coach Andrew stuck over here with Coach Jeff, all right? Coach Jeff is leaving. He's running away from the ball, all right? You don't need to defend him. He doesn't have the basketball, players. Coaches, make sure you don't teach your players to do that because Coach Alex has the most valuable thing on the court right now, all right? If he penetrates, there's no help side right now if he goes middle, all right? So we want to teach our players to jump and drop. What that looks like, again, if Coach Jeff is up here, immediately when he passes the ball, Coach Andrew's going to jump. When he starts to go away, he's going to drop. Now, on the drop, he's got to make sure that he's still got that shallow triangle. All right, so he can still see his man, but he can still see the ball. He's not going to end up being with his man below him because then he would just slip to the basket. All right, so he's got to make sure he's got that ball and man in his eyesight. All right, Coach Nick now is going to take this gap through the screen. This gap is created by Coach Andrew. All right, so as Coach Bobby comes up to catch the ball, Coach Nick blasts through, ball goes to the top. Now, he's on a closeout. He's got to get back to 1/3, 2/3. The great thing about guarding a screen up and through is this. Let's get back to our original positions real quick. All right, after the ball is here and Coach Jeff goes to set this screen. Okay, Coach Nick gets through. Stop. Once Coach Jeff leaves and the ball hasn't reversed yet, Coach Andrew's in the perfect position now. He's on help side. All right, so if you guard a screen correctly, you cut your work in half, players. All right, so coaches, make sure you teach that as well. Now, let's go back one more time to our original positions. We've got to communicate defensively, all right? What that means is Coach Andrew's going to yell out, screen, 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 and tell Coach Nick, hey, there's a screen coming, all right? This is what we also have to do. If your teammate's in the wrong spot, communicate. All right, so maybe Coach Andrew made a mistake, and he's glued to Coach Jeff, all right? Get glued to Coach Jeff, please, and he's coming through. Coach Nick has to say something, all right? He cannot simply go around this way for the screen to guard Coach Bobby, all right? Because he's going 4 man's removed. That's a three-pointer all day long, all right? Coach says we're guarding it up and through. Coach Nick's going to have to tell Coach Andrew to move, and he's going to have to blast through that screen, all right? So now he's going to have to tell him, move, get out the way. Move. And now he's coming through, and we're on a closeout, 2 hands up once again, okay? Let's see that live in action a couple times through. Here we go. Everybody's talking, everybody's low. There we go. So that's what it should look like. That's how you guard the screen up and through. You've got to communicate, you've got to stay low. When the ball moves, players got to move, and we've got to have constant communication. Another way we teach our players to defend the screen is the tight trail. Some coaches call it a tag, some call it a chase, some say ride their hip through. What that means is the defensive player is going to take the same path over the screen as the shooter. All right, so let's break that down. Let's see what happens here, okay? Nothing's going to change on the ball reversal, okay? When Coach Jeff passes it to Coach Alex, Coach Gallo's going to jump 1/3, 2/3. All right, Coach Nick's coming to help side. Now things are going to change as Coach Jeff starts to set this screen, okay? Now, remember, on the up and through, Coach Gallo could stand here and create that gap for Coach Nick. Now that we're tight trailing, remember, we're tight trailing because we're guarding a shooter. So we got to be there on the catch, otherwise they're letting that thing go, all right? So we have to make sure. Now, Coach Nick's got to get contact with Coach Bobby, all right, and he's going to try to ride him through on top of that screen. Now, stop. At this point, at the level of the screen, Coach Gallo has a job to do, all right? He's got to take away the curl. So he's got to be there to blow up the curl. So what that means, if Coach Nick was behind Coach Bobby, all right, and Coach Bobby sees that, right? So he's going to curl the screen. We've got to have help there. It's right there. Coach Gallo's there to blow up the curl. Once again, Coach Gallo cannot be above Coach Jeff, okay? Here's why. Let's see it one more time. As he's coming through and he's blowing up the curl, Coach Jeff's just going to slip. So you have a job to do if you're guarding the screener, not just if you're guarding the shooter. Both players have a job to do, all right? So if we're guarding the screener, we've got to make sure we're there. We've got help responsibilities on the curl. If we're guarding the shooter, we're taking that same path. We're trying to establish contact early so we can wedge ourselves through that screen. If not, we've just got to hustle up. On the catch, we've got to be there. Hands got to be up, distracting that shot. Let's see that a couple times through live. Stop. That's what it should look like. That's the intensity it should have. That's the communication you've got to have. That's how hard you've got to be able to guard a screen. That's how hard you've got to teach it, coaches.